Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 564, Preparing for the IELTS exam. Upper beginner. It was a crisp autumn morning when Maria woke up, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today was the day of her IELTS exam and the test that would determine her future opportunities to study abroad. Maria had been preparing for this moment for months. She had enrolled in an IELTS preparation course, diligently attending classes and completing all the practice exercises. She had studied the format of the exam, familiarizing herself with the various sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. As she sipped her morning coffee, Maria reviewed her notes one last time. She knew that the listening section would test her ability to comprehend spoken English in a variety of accents and contexts. The reading section would challenge her to skim and scan passages, as well as answer detailed questions. The writing section would require her to produce coherent and well-structured essays, while the speaking section would put her conversational skills to the test. Feeling somewhat prepared, but still a little anxious, Maria left her apartment and made her way to the exam center. The building was bustling with other test takers, all of them sharing the same nervous energy. Maria took a deep breath and entered the testing room, finding her assigned seat. The exam began with the listening section. Maria listened intently as the audio recordings played, trying to catch every word and understand the main ideas. She jotted down notes and answered the questions as best she could, her pen racing against the clock. Next, it was time for the reading section. Maria scanned the passages, searching for key information and trying to answer the questions quickly and accurately. She knew that time management was crucial in this part of the exam. After a short break, the writing section commenced. Maria was presented with 2 prompts and had to choose one to write about. She organized her thoughts, drafted an outline, and began to write, carefully constructing her paragraphs and ensuring her language was clear and precise. Finally, it was time for the speaking section. Maria was called into a private room and faced a friendly examiner who engaged her in a conversation. She answered questions about her background, her interests, and her plans for the future. She tried to speak clearly and confidently, using a range of vocabulary and grammar structures. When the exam was over, Maria felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. She had given it her best effort, and now all she could do was wait for the results. As she left the exam center, she couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had led her to this moment. Maria had always dreamed of studying abroad, and the IELTS exam was the first step towards making that dream a reality. She knew that the road ahead might not be easy, but she was determined to keep pushing forward, no matter what challenges came her way. As she made her way home, Maria couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in herself. She had worked hard and overcome her fears, and she was one step closer to achieving her goals. With a renewed sense of purpose, she looked forward to the day when she would receive her IELTS results and take the next step in her educational journey. Vocabulary notes. Crisp. Example: it was a crisp autumn morning when Maria woke up. Similar words: brisk, fresh, sharp, cool. Nervousness. Example: her heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Similar words: anxiety, apprehension, unease, jitteriness. Diligently. Example: she had diligently attending classes and completing all the practice exercises. Similar words: meticulously, thoroughly, assiduously, conscientiously. Familiarizing. Example: she had familiarizing herself with the various sections: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Similar words: acquainting, accustoming, getting acquainted with, becoming familiar with. Coherent. Example: the writing section would require her to produce coherent and well-structured essays. Similar words: logical, organized, clear, lucid. Conversational. Example: the speaking section would put her conversational skills to the test. Similar words: dialogic, interactive, discursive, communicative. Jotted. Example: she jotted down notes and answered the questions as best she could. Similar words: scribbled, scrawled, wrote quickly, made brief notes. Scan. Example: Maria scanned the passages, searching for key information and trying to answer the questions quickly and accurately. Similar words: skim, browse, glance through, peruse. Prompted. Example: she was presented with 2 prompts and had to choose one to write about. Similar words: cue, stimulus, trigger, catalyst. Reflect. Example: as she left the exam center, she couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had led her to this moment. Similar words: ponder, consider, contemplate, muse on. Story written by ChatGPT AI. Image created by DALL-E 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the biggest English language tests out there, the IELTS. We're going to do it by following someone's actual test day, step by step, to really see what it's like. Imagine this is the very first thing you feel when you wake up. Your heart is just pounding. It's that crazy mix of, I can't wait to do this, and, oh my God, what if I mess up? It's a feeling a lot of us know, right? When you're standing at the starting line of something that could change everything. So let's meet the person at the heart of our story today, Maria. Her dream is huge. She wants to go study in a completely different country. And for her, the IELTS isn't just some random test. It's the key that unlocks the door to that dream. It's step 1. But a day like that doesn't just happen. You don't just roll out of bed and take the IELTS. Nope. It all starts months before, with the most important part, the preparation. The source material uses a really specific word to describe how Maria got ready. She prepared diligently. Now, that's more than just studying a lot. It means she was careful, she was consistent, she put real thought into her work. And that kind of diligent prep, it's not just about learning answers. It's about building the confidence you're gonna need on the day. So what was she preparing for exactly? These 4 things right here. The IELTS is broken down into these 4 distinct challenges. Think of it like a full workout for your English skills, It tests how well you listen, how you read, what you can write, and how you speak. This is the mountain she's getting ready to climb. Okay, let's fast forward. It's the morning of the exam. You arrive at the test center, and you can just feel it in the air. The real challenge at this point isn't just about English. It's about taming those butterflies in your stomach and turning all that nervous energy into pure focus. And here's the thing, Maria wasn't alone. She walks into a room that's just humming with people, and every single one of them is feeling the exact same way. There's this shared nervous energy. And honestly, there's a weird kind of comfort in that, knowing that everyone is in the same boat, facing this big thing together. All right, it's time. The exam officially begins. The first half is all about what are called receptive skills, which is just a fancy way of saying how good are you at taking in information, both by listening and by reading. First up is the listening test. And this is tricky because you're not just listening to one perfect, clear voice. You're hearing different accents, people talking in different situations. And all the while, that clock is just ticking away. You've got to catch the big picture and the tiny details. Maria's secret weapon? Taking notes. Fast. And that brings us to this key little action. She jotted things down. We're not talking about writing perfect sentences here. Jotted means to scribble, to write something down super quickly. It's about grabbing those key words and ideas from the audio before they just disappear. It's probably one of the most useful skills you can have for this part. Okay, the listening part is over, but there's no time to relax. You go straight into the reading section, and if there is one skill that matters more than anything else here, it is managing your time. The source really hammers this home. Time management is absolutely everything. So how do you possibly read all that text and answer the questions in time? You don't read it like a book. You use a special skill called scanning. Think of it like being a detective. You're not there to enjoy the scenery, you're hunting for clues. You sweep your eyes over the page looking for specific names, dates, or keywords to find exactly what you need. It's all about speed and precision. After a short break, the whole test just flips. Now it's not about what you can understand, it's about what you can produce. It's your turn to create the English in both the writing and the speaking section. So these two productive skills are totally different beasts. For writing, you need to build a logical, well-organized essay on paper. It's structured. Speaking, on the other hand, is all about being clear and confident in a real-time conversation. Both are testing what you can produce, but they demand completely different things from you. So, for the writing task, the biggest mistake you can make is to just panic and start writing. But Maria had a plan. First, she picked her topic. Then, she took a minute to organize her ideas, she scribbled a quick outline, and then she started writing her paragraphs. That little bit of planning makes all the difference. And the whole point of that planning is to make your essay coherent. This is a huge deal for the examiners. All it means is, does this make sense? Do the ideas flow logically? A coherent essay isn't just about good grammar. It's an argument that holds together and is easy for someone to follow from start to finish. And at last, we get to the final test, the speaking section. For a lot of people, this is the scariest part. But the source makes a really important point. The examiner is described as friendly. This isn't an interrogation. It's just a conversation between two people. So what do you talk about? The one subject you're the world's leading expert on, you. They ask about your life, your hobbies, your plans. The questions are designed to be easy to talk about, just like when the examiner asked Maria about her own life and what she wanted to do in the future. And just like that, it's over. The 4 trials are done. The mental marathon is complete. Now we get to the final part of the day, the feeling after it's all said and done. Can you just imagine that feeling? That huge wave of relief that washes over you, but at the same time, you're just completely drained? Maria has put everything she has into this day, and now there's nothing left to do but just breathe. It's a feeling anyone who's been through a big exam knows so well. In that moment, as she walked out, the focus wasn't even on the test anymore. It shifted to the entire journey. Because a day like this, it isn't really about the 3 hours in that room. It's the grand finale of all those months of hard work, every practice test, and all the dedication it took to get there. And this, right here, is the real takeaway. Forget the score for a second. Maria has already won. She stared down her fears, she put in the hard work, and she took a real solid step toward her dream. The journey itself was a victory. So Maria took this huge, faraway dream and made it real by taking that first step. Her journey is officially in motion, and that really just leaves one final question aimed right at you. What will your first step be?